So, good afternoon from the UK. I'm here and I'm joined by the beautiful Joshua. I have to get my words out. He's just had his hair done just for me. I'm feeling very special.
Right.
And we're here for the Wellnes WOWday podcast. And we're talking about Joshua's Wow Day. And he's going to talk us through the journey he went through. So, of course, if you are listening and tuning in, obviously there's links to hook up with Joshua and how to connect them afterwards if you wish. Of course, drop in your thoughts, questions and comments, because obviously we would love to hear from you. So, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you. I love your hair.
Oh, just I did it for you too.
How's your day going?
Awesome. You are my highlight. You are like the middle point. You are my highlight. I'm going to make you feel really special. For the next half hour, 40 minutes, you are going to be the star of this moment. Do you feel good? Do you feel good?
I feel privileged and honored and humbled.
Well, the aim of a Well Day is the things that make us feel amazing. Because obviously it's a life-changing moment. So let's just kick it off. What was your moment of Wow Day? Where did it all change for you?
The most prominent one that I want to dive into is the one that I've kind of shared with the LinkedIn family and other social media platforms to promote the journey that I was on in recovery when I had a severe knee injury that happened on July 24th. And in context, a driver of a golf cart decided to turn around as I asked, and but gun the golf cart, excessively, and then ripped the cart to the left, and the cart tilted on two wheels, and then I stuck out my right leg and like a peg to push it back on four wheels so the golf cart would not fall on top of me. And that's when my knee popped 4 times, and didn't realize it until I got to the emergency room. But that's when
it's okay.
Yeah, I found out that I broke my first bone, which is that I've ever broken, and it was my tibia. And so I knew the severity of that injury. And so the docs basically said, we need you to get a CT scan. Your tibia on the backside of your knee is floating around. It was a little chip that broke off. We don't know what the ligaments, what the status of those are until the CT scan. So I was in Shelby, North Carolina when this happened at the golf course that I am in the negotiation to purchasing, and we're submitting an LOI this weekend and a deposit, and then we're going to be off to the races. So I was in Wilmington, moving down from my marriage that will be of 10 years, November 28th, and I exited stage left because of multiple factors and the dynamics of our relationships and the age and difference. Me having no kids, she having 3 kids of her own from a 16-year marriage, and me being a stepdad and not having my own kid, which was what I had to sacrifice to be a stepdad to 3 awesome kids. But anyway, a lot of pressures and outside circumstance and levels of disrespect on both sides caused dissension in our marriage and to a breaking point. And so I moved back to my hometown in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and then heard that in church, I just felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me to move to Wilmington. So I moved to Wilmington and was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Daryl Posey, who's the owner of Loggerhead Golf and the chapter president of PGA Hope, which works on amputees and First Tee. And he shared his vision and my vision of Golf for Life Ministries, and we connected and found out that he's the national world record holder for the for Folds of Honor, where he has played in a cart 181 holes in less than 12 hours. Well, actually, it was 14 hours, 6:30 to 8:30. But I was able to raise $112,000. So we had this synergy in the golf industry, and we became mutual partners. And we're looking to work on different projects. But a lot of the doors were closing around in Wilmington because none of the golf courses were really in a position to wanting to sell. And then additionally, they wanted to charge us for our 4 guys that are military veterans and a pro golfer to walk 100 holes in less than 12 hours. And then plus the living arrangements and whatnot. So I went back to Goldsboro and I prayed and I was like, Lord, I really would love a golf course to be in a position to be actively looking to sell. Would want to host our event. And then obviously if there's someone in the community, a realtor, a renter that would want to rent out a house while we fundraise and canvass the area and blanket all the businesses and residential homeowners in the area to let them know of the impact that we're going to make serving our heroes. And so I called the golf course, left a message. The owner gave me a call back. And then on Friday, I gave him a call and I said, I'm interested. He says, can you meet me? I said, sure. I says, I'll leave right now. And so I drove 4 hours to Shelby, and we had a meeting that next morning on the golf course, playing 18 holes. And at the end of the round, he was like, well, I want to host your event for free, and I'd like to start the negotiation of selling this golf course to you. And anything else you need? I says, well, I do need some residential housing. If you know anybody that's renting, he says, well, I have an investment property that has a showing tomorrow and Monday. I'll take it off the market and you can stay there for the next 6 months. How's that sound? And so my prayer was answered. But the next day leading up to that point, I've been being tugged at wanting to reconcile with my wife for multiple reasons. One with the history that we have, knowing that she knew that, my sacrifice for not having a kid, but the desire to be full-time ministry for Golf for Life and Fallen Firefighters Association is my calling. It's my purpose. And whether I was mentally, physically, emotionally prepared, only God knew that. I'm always ready, but maybe not prepared. But proper preparation prevents poor performance. But all I heard was go, and so I just took the right steps. But during this 2-week leading up to this golf course meeting, I was trying to get her to come back around and let's work on forgiving each other, acknowledging where each one of us. But I don't know if you know much about Germans. They're precious individuals, but they're strong-willed. And so admitting defeat or apologizing or admitting that they're a role that they played could have been addressed or something said differently with the right intonation or whatever. And I just realized this, that women like to be heard, whether they're right or wrong. They just want to be heard. So, usually didn't let her go first, and so I had 2 things wrong. I didn't let ladies go first, and I didn't really want to hear the rabbit trails that she would take me on. And I felt like I was a part of Alice in Wonderland, 3. And so either way, I guess it's a matter of defeat, pride, wanting control. And then obviously the mother of 3 kids, and I'm the stepdad, I'm younger. I mean, you could make a laundry list, but however, we agreed to disagree on multiple levels, and we started the forgiveness process, but the level of respect and trusting the leadership of the role of a man in a marriage and being the priest, the high priest of the home, and all of that, it was a little bit out of context, to say the least. And I totally understand why. And I had a lot of reasons why that was at that stage. And But all I wanted her to do is come and see what has been developed since me leaving, and get her validation. Not that I needed it, but it's nice to include other people that have been on this journey, whether there's disagreements or misunderstandings or unforgiveness, however. And at the same time, she wanted me to prove myself that this is actually what Josh is saying. I mean, you're gifted at communicating, but does your walk match your talk, and does your words describe the picture as and I want to see it if it's that juicy. And so she wouldn't come, and I was furious that she wouldn't just. She was always saying, "I need to go next month." I'll work on getting therapy next month, and I'm like, "What is going on here?" So I pursued without her with my national sales trainer, and the next day we're on the golf course. I'm playing. I'm letting this individual drive, not liking some of the decisions of things in her hand and playing with the phone and not really concentrating. So I just put on a message by John Bevere. He wrote the book called The Beta Satan. And it started talking about unforgiveness on this podcast that he was on. And I was listening. I was like, he's like, in the process of forgiving others, a lot of the times we take their offense and we actually, compartmentalize it in our medulla oblongata, and then we add a rent sign to it, that no one's paying rent, and we have no clue how to evict those feelings, let alone look at them from the right perspective. But from a biblical perspective, John Bevere mentioned that you really have to start blessing those who curse you or offend you. And a lot of people, because with the research that I've done and the medical case studies that I've researched about the definition of narcissism, they actually say that every individual created has a narcissistic trait. They might not have a disorder, but they have some type of trait. And so I started looking at that, and I was like, man comes up with these great Anglo-Saxon words that are sounds retarded and as much as but it's not considered a cuss word. But I look at narcissism as sin nature. Like, we were born into sin. We had no control. A lot of our parents didn't use the basic instruction before leaving Earth, aka Bible, as a reference point to raise their kids in the way that they should go. So we as creatures we were creatures of habit. So monkey see, monkey do. And then with social media coming into play, peers trying to find your image, find yourself, figure out who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go, and then throw some clothes on all that, from the aspect of naked as you come, naked as you go. But between there, you got to figure out what you're going to wear, and
and you've frozen. I'm absolutely wrapped in the naked as you come and naked as you go, and you just froze there. I literally after that bit, and I was like, "What's next?" I'm just like listening to
So our we as individuals with all those elements playing intertwining, have been conditioned. Our minds have been conditioned to put a facade on, and so it's so detrimental to our relationship building that if we're not true to ourselves and we're trying to impress others because we compare ourselves to others and what society and the TV promotes, then we're not coming true, and so it's this. It might be overpowering. You might be loud. You might be very prideful and arrogant, and because ultimately people don't really want to come humbly or meek. They want to they have this level of pride in them, and they don't want to show weakness at the end of the day, or vulnerability, and let alone transparency, followed up by honesty.
And add another phrase.
Oh, we all have aspects of a trait, and if you feed that trait, then it becomes a disorder. So thanks to sin, we have this definition of narcissism, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, how can you combat narcissism when now social media is like the number one player in allowing individuals that want to hide behind a phone, a text, a messenger? You know, they have the power now, because if we were face to face and I asked you a direct question, you would tell me yes or no, or F off, or whatever your feelings were at that time, if it was an offensive question, obviously. But when you ask that same question in text or email, it takes out the intonation, takes out, a lot of people only have grammar down, so they're not using commas, periods, run-on sentence. So you really don't have the true context of what they're saying, because our eyes are the windows of our soul, and then our vocals and our intonation, all that compiled together comes from the heart. So one would know how to respond. But with text, you've just taken out so many elements that leaves you. And then when you ask the person that doesn't want to answer you, now it gives them all the amount of time that they want to leave you on read or read. And I'm like, which is one of my pet peeves, because it takes like 2.4 seconds to send a text message, or seconds. When me and my business partner either have seconds, minutes, or hours, and that tells me seconds means about 15 minutes. 30 minutes means probably gonna be an hour or two. And if he says hours, I guess I'll call him before I lay down and go to sleep, if I haven't heard from him yet. So however, so all of that said, it's hard if we're walking in an image where we're not, and then you take that meet and greet. So when we do go out in the jungle or out in the world and we meet and greet, we're like kids in a candy shop, bouncing off walls, and a bull in a china shop. And it's all because we've been conditioned to live behind a screen, and now we're out meeting people, and ultimately we would love to meet people, but because of the pandemic, it's caused some issues. But however, so we end up rubbing people the wrong way, and so you end up offending someone, and then the offender has no clue, because he's just he's living in his own skin at the end of the day. Like, he's trying to just figure it out while he's enjoying being in society in a social setting. And so, like, people ask me, like, what's your name? I'm like, I'm Big Juicy. And they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean, you're juicy? I'm like, yeah, it's a mindset. I feel juicy. That steak looks thick and juicy. I'm juicy. And so it's nothing out of context on the sexual connotation perspective. It's just it's a feeling. I'm in my own skin. I feel confident. I'm walking in a room with unconditional love and ready to meet and greet another human that has a story to tell, and everybody loves to talk, and so you better get ready to be vomited on. So if I'm gonna be vomited on, I'm gonna better feel juicy, because I'm gonna be juicy after they just tell me all their woes, and I'm just. So I figured with that mindset, I'm killing two birds with one stone. And I'm coming as real as I can. I'm enjoying the moment, and I'm ready to meet someone that is about to hawk a loogie on me. And I'm supposed to say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another? Can I give you my phone number and you call me later?" So Uh, but sometimes if you come too juicy, you wind up offending people, and then you wind up not being able to play in the sandbox, and you can't share your toys and figure out how if we want to be friends at the end of the day. And so once I get those vibes, then I realize I must have rubbed someone the wrong way, and so I need to one acknowledge that and figure out where I might have, or if I can't figure it out.
And I get another phrase. So the crucial point.
Yeah. And so it requires vulnerability and being open and being ready for some constructive criticism. And then at that point, you either can say, man, I apologize, or you can go to the narcissistic side and start rationalizing and justifying. And because you don't want to admit defeat, aka my wife, and no, my wife understands my humor, so and I do the same thing, but they call me Mr. Rebuttal, and so since I'm Mr. Rebuttal and I use the word of God as principle, it's kind of hard to win a battle, because then you're arguing with the word of God and not me, so there's no game, it's called I win because you're not competing against me, So, no, I'm messing. But so no, these heated discussions at the end of the day, if we can learn how to be humans in our own skin with the minimal knowledge and ability to grasp 5 or 20% of our memory to apply in certain situations, we have to learn how to have these types of talks without getting offended, whether it's sexual, whether it's biblical, whether it's denominational, whether it's financial, or race, what all that, and just know that I'm not the judge at the end of the day. Like, I don't hold you accountable. The way you feel doesn't bother me, but you as a human and living in peace and harmony and enjoying life and doing what you love to do, so it doesn't feel like work, and making memories with family and new people, then, we end up singing Kumbaya at the end of the day. So, so that in itself with the message resonated. And I was like, well, I've already apologized to my wife. She still hasn't apologized to me. I've even, written it down, drew a picture, told her the answer, and it still shit hasn't resonated. I said, well, maybe John Bevere can say it in a more eloquent way than Big Juicy, because my juice has gone sour. And so I sent her the message, and she looked over at the phone, and instead of picking it up and listening to the message, she set it down for about 2 minutes. And then she engaged and started listening to the podcast. Well, 11 minutes to 11:33 seconds in that podcast was where John said, look, the start of any process of forgiveness is blessing those who curse you, because most offenders, narcissistic, sin nature individuals, means everyone, don't realize that they offend someone, or they didn't mean to, or they don't know how to communicate because they didn't go to school for it. So it takes you to bless them first, and then it's like an athlete that has a knee injury and has to learn how to rehabilitate that, to strengthen it, to get it back to optimum performance, and then you have to go to that person. The second step is go to that person and say, hey man, I don't know if you remember, but on September 1st around 3:03 with 24 seconds, you said this, and it offended me. And I want to let you know that I forgive you. And whether you realize you did it, said it, or even acknowledge it, but you release that. And that response is whether it's going to be one of two things. And it's either, man, I appreciate you forgiving me for my ignorance or whatever.
And
You
another 3.
biblically, you take it to another person. Are we frozen? Okay.
Oh,
So we take.
just for a second.
So you take that person to another person that's neutral, and if you still can't get nowhere, and then you take them to a pastor, and if it doesn't work there, then they're either stuck on stupid or in delayed denial. And then it tells you to exile, and just write them off. I mean, they're on their own journeys. You know, they might even have a reprobate mind. We won't know. But however, there's a process. But do it in private. Go to that person that has offended you, and take them to the side one-on-one. And so it's not public. It's not blasting people on the internet. And I've had fault in that, and I've contributed to the comments because I don't really like drama. I just like reading and hearing about other people's drama, and it adds to my my comedian script. But however, my point saying all that, between 11 and 11:33, he was talking about, blessing those who curse you, and then it's like an athlete who injures their knee. As soon as that knee came out of the phone, her phone rang, and it's me on the ground saying, "I just broke my knee. My knee's done. I can't play golf." It was the darkest moment of my life, because everybody prior to that I called 7 people, no answer. And imagine in that much pain and not have no one answer their phone. And then you finally call your wife. You finally call the last person that I didn't want to call, because I'm still thinking I'm waiting on her to call me to apologize to me, And so I call her, and she answers at 11:33 in that podcast when he said knee, and I'm just on the ground, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't know what's going on, but I tore my lateral meniscus and my ACL, and I tore my ACL in the military, my lateral meniscus, and 4 years prior to that, playing basketball. And I realized I know the pain, but to have a broken bone, a lateral meniscus tear, and a potential ACL tear is I don't know. I wasn't in a good mental space, so they rushed me to the hospital. Thanks to Connor, the head pro at Deerbrook, responding, and I went to Cleveland Atrium Health Emergency Center. They told me I had a broken tibia, and then I didn't have no one to take care of me. And I'm sitting there in the emergency room, like crying my eyes out. But at the same time,
take a moment.
I'm furious with my wife, because if she still didn't listen to me. If she would have came like I asked her to, this wouldn't have happened, because my wife knows how to drive a golf cart. I didn't realize the person that was driving the golf cart was their second time driving. So, however, I knew that at the same time I was supposed to call her and not text her. So at the end of the day, it's really my fault, because on my journey, being led by the Holy Spirit and a believer in Jesus Christ, and I knew that this whole journey that I've been on when I left her is about timing and response. And for me, I'm not. I was at in my walk, I never was a why me kind of a guy, because that's typically baby Christians. They always ask, why me, and why did you let this happen to this baby and this innocent person, and they get the feelings involved. But a mature Christian is at what are you teaching me, God? What is the lesson that I'm supposed to be learning, whether I made the wrong decision or the right decision? And then the PhD Christian is, thank you, Lord, for everything that is happening to me, because I'm going to use it for your glory. And because of this incident, it allowed me to go from a mature Christian to now thanking him for everything, and realizing that in order to be thankful, you got to realize that if everything you're thanking him for is because of your response or something that you didn't have anything to do with, and it's just timing, but it comes down to listening, responding, and within the timing that God allows. And if you don't, he allows consequences. So instead of me calling my wife and initiating the apology, sorry, Cammie, that what I've done and the role that I played and the words that I've said and the actions that haven't followed, man, I hold myself accountable. If I want to be the high priest, I can't hold you accountable because it starts with me. And so I'm thinking, and so with and since I delayed that response and thought that I was going to be God and the Holy Spirit and go and send her a message that would convict her, God hit me in the knees and below the belt and humbled me really quick. And so I spent 2 weeks from July 24th to, not 2 weeks, it was 17 days roughly, to August 10th, crawling across the floor, trying to get onto a toilet. And I challenge anyone to make one leg go paralyzed and then try to get up on a toilet with no counter involved, just the toilet. And then try to take baths or showers. It's complicating, let alone trying to cook you a meal, maybe get to the microwave that's above the stove. So pissing in piss bottles became the norm, and DoorDash, got my credit card on file. But then I flew into Baltimore, and that's when my wife still wouldn't let me live at the house. She changed the locks. She wouldn't take me to the appointment. I had to ask my buddy to stay on his couch. I didn't have a wheelchair. She did find me a wheelchair, but she did pick me up from the airport. But there was no hey, I'm going out to the beach for the next week. You can stay here for free. None of that. But so she wasn't ready. And again, but it was a form of rejection, which I deal heavily in that area. That I've received it unannounced and not by choice, by or even in the birth of my situation as a young lad, and so rejection is kind of like my kryptonite, and so her response did cause a little bit of bitterness and resentment, but living like a cockroach for about 2.5 weeks puts things in perspective real quick. And you'd be surprised what you find around laying on the floor. I had to dust so many baseboards. They call me Mr. Swiffer Sweeper. My whole back was black, from just crawling, doing the Cupid shuffle. Oh yeah, the Charleston, all that. But however, no, I learned a lot, but, so I came back to my house, and then I flew back out for surgery and at Johns Hopkins August 10th. Well, during surgery, the doctor said, look, we're just going to take out the bone. Then your knee's going to have to heal. You'll be immobilized in the horizontal for about 12 to 13 weeks. And then we're going to come and do the repair on your ligaments. And then it's another 3, definitely 6 recovery. So about a 9-month recovery. And I was like, 9 months. Yeah, that's like next golf season. We're already like almost over, by the time I'm ready to play. And so you're taking my what really drives me. That's my window time when I go out and play. And so I went into surgery, laid on the table, put on my favorite song. I'll drop the song in the link. It's called Nothing Else by Cody, I think Carnes. I don't know how to spell his last name. And then some other songs I'll also drop. It's called Waymaker and Evidence. But Nothing Else is my go-to every morning I wake up. and it puts my mind in perspective, because really at the end of the day, I'd rather have nothing else but what Jesus wants. Or sometimes I wish I could go meet him, and leave these worries behind. But I know there's a purpose and a plan for me. But I turned the music. They turned the music on. I grabbed the doctor's and nurse's hand. I prayed for them and their hands during surgery, and I went under. And I woke up, and they said, "Well, I want to let you know we took out your bone, and we repaired your lateral meniscus, and we there's your ACL was strained." And I just broke down in tears, because I was going to my brothers and mentors and pastors, and they started speaking prophetic words over me, saying your ACL is not going to be tore. They're going to repair and remove everything in one surgery. And when I woke up, they said, you'll never have to have surgery on this knee again. It'll be a 3-month recovery, and you should be playing golf in 3 months. So I have a dear friend down in Orlando that his daughter married a prominent PT doctor, known as 6 Degrees of Wellness. And I went down there in 4 sessions. I'm standing. 6 sessions. I'm walking without any assistance. And in 18 days from August 10th, the 28th, I'm walking long distance, no wheelchair, etc. And then 31 days from August 10th, which was last Monday, I played golf for the first time. I have videos that I can put in links if y'all want to see, but I shot 1 over. I shot 5 over on the first 4 holes, went par, birdie, birdie, par, par, and then went birdie, par, I think birdie, and either way, I shot 2 under on the backside. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm truly grateful and thankful, because out of this, my wife came down from Baltimore last weekend. We've already had filed the divorce papers. I notarized the settlement paper and the agreement, and gave her everything. And I was just going to take my Mercedes and my clothes and golf clubs, and be like the jerk that's walking away and take this and take that. But no. And so I knew that I didn't want to complicate and draw this thing out, but we have our hearing on October 21st. But now she came down. We had an amazing weekend. She saw the golf course, met the golf course owner, and the restaurant owner at the golf course, and was just like, yeah, Josh, I get it. I'm seeing I'm picking up what you've been laying down. And so our marriage is reconciled. We are going to annul the settlement agreement and remove all that, so I can move back when it's time, or come visit at the house. And then we went out Sunday night and met the owner's son, who's an attorney here, and we had dinner at this awesome restaurant in Gastonia called Webb's Country Kitchen, if you ever try to go. And he started telling me about this marriage couple that does counseling and mentoring, and he learned more in the last 4 months than 6 years of all the other outside help. And he referred me to them, and I got off the phone with them yesterday, and we have our first marriage counseling session scheduled Sunday night, and we're excited, and it's free. So if it's free, it's for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a donate, but it ain't no prepayment and no copay. I mean, you ain't gonna be taken away from my Outback, experience. But no, so it's just a blessing. I'm getting plugged in, and then the golf course owner, son, his name's Brandon. And Brandon invited me to his office, and he just loved the way that my brain works, and in the thought process of macro marketing concepts and strategies, and the digital and the human touch aspect integrated, and with AI and automation, et cetera. But so he's got 4 companies. He wants me to help him grow, do a joint venture. And now I have office space. So I'm sitting at his desk.
Oh, and it froze just when we were seeing this desk as well. Oh, you're coming back to me.
Okay. So yeah. No, he's got an awesome. He owns the building. And he's made so many compliments regarding the way my mind processes information. I'm a 12, 15 step visionary thought, my thought process and the drive and grit. And I told him, I said, I'm just wired that way. That's why they call me Big Juicy. It's just innate. I can't change it. I just thank Jesus for me being juicy, at the end of the day. And so we are clicking like a mouse, and I got him excited to get back playing golf. And at the end of the day, now I've actually lost weight during this whole entire month of PT, and I'm in a better mental state. My marriage is on point, and I haven't had an argument with my wife. I can't remember when. And all that comes with reconciling with the opposite sex is back on point. You know what I mean? And and I'm back saying hallelujah, and so I feel juicified, when I see her. But I'm so honored and privileged to be able to share this journey and just the segments that I've posted on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, that it's opened up doors because I'm relationship driven. I don't care color, creed, booger hanging out your nose, or belief system. It's at the end of the day, we're two humans that were ultimately flawed in so many different ways, and we're just trying to find our way. And so in order to be in ministry, you got to love people, and you got to have the right mindset and heart to do that. And unfortunately, image plays a role. So I want to go from Big Juicy to Little Juicy. You see how the neck kind of, there's no triple chin, just a double chin. So anyway, it's played this knee injury, because I didn't respond accordingly, has put me in a humiliating, humbled position for me to look inward and figure out there's a lot of things that were out of perspective and out of sequence, and my priorities were out of line. And so, Romans 12:1-2 says it best. So I think it says, beseech you therefore, brethren, that you be a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing, and that you would transform your mind, and by renewing it daily. So now I've had all this time to be able to listen to sermons and praise and worship music and really connect with that inner man, to be responsive instead of reactionary, but sensitive and inquisitive, listening more than speaking. As you can tell, I love to chat. And so it's helped me with all of the relationships that have now have started, and I feel like I'm equipped. I'm not there yet. I'll never be there. I'll never arrive. But I'm excited about the journey, and it's exciting living day to day, and knowing that I'm not promised tomorrow. I have today, and man, if I let go of the steering wheel and let someone else drive, let it be either the golf course owner, because he can afford it, or do not get in a golf cart accident in North Carolina, because it's a do not fault state. So you only can sue the person that did it. You better make sure they have money. Or you let Jesus take the wheel, and whatever happens, it's because it's in his destined plan. He knows the end before the beginning, and the beginning before the end. So and then the timing of Liz, and somehow whatever I said, I think it was in Walmart, and I was giving my ingredients for that fettuccine.
That was the second one that I saw. I saw you, another one come up and you walking. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and so when you started commenting, I was like, man, I feel her energy. Is the first time. A lot of times you in text you don't get somebody, but immediately I was like, don't know where she's from. And UK people are cool, I can tell you that. They have beautiful accents. I wish I could hire all of them for the telemarketing jobs that I have.
Everyone keeps thinking I'm American. When I comment on things, they hear me speak afterwards. They go, "I thought you were American." I was like, "No."
Oh no, you can't tell. British, yeah.
English. I am English.
English.
Yes, I am English.
Well, it's been a privilege to be able to connect with you and be invited. I did throw out a little line, letting you know I'm interested. But just because, I mean, if I didn't have to be on camera and get my hair did, I'd rather people hear my voice and hear my heart. But unfortunately, because I don't want to be the face of the ministries that God's given me, let alone these podcasts. But you just taught me how to your love through text, and then our relationship and the uncensored conversations we have off camera, priceless. And you are one heck of a human being. I don't know what you've been through, but for you to connect with me.
You're gonna make me cry now. You're gonna make me. My mascara might run.
Well, I only know how to speak from the heart, and if I tell you all the truth, then I don't have to remember the lies. You know what I mean? So.
Well, yeah, because I also got this. So you added this into your email that you'll give away a free appetizer.
Yes, I'm actually going to do.
Remember this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do something better. I'm working with the developer of an app. It's called Saving Shuffle app, and it has thousands of restaurants around the United States that, like, it's 20% off Tuesday at Subway. But they have the GPS coordinate. It tracks, your location if you accept that. And then it's attached to Google Maps, so you can automatically find your destination where that restaurant is offering. But there's going to be multiple discounts. So if you spend $100 every time you go out, you're saving 20%. You're saving $80 over $960 a year, basically $1,000 a year, as a way of saying thank you. And a lot of these restaurants contribute back to Tunnel to Towers and Golf for Life and fallen firefighters and, just nonprofits that are helping individuals and families that need it. And they're actually not utilizing monies for mansions and Maseratis and whatnot. That's why I have high respects for Tunnel to Towers. It's 93% of every dollar goes out to impact to build new houses and custom houses and whatnot. But my job is to basically take this app. It already has restaurants all around, Quiznos, Pizza Inn. I mean, Outback. I mean, so I will also be in geo-targeting big cities. And if anybody wants to comment and say, hey, can you get this restaurant on this app? I can call the app. It doesn't cost the restaurant anything. So we actually track all the sales, and then we can tell how many people from that app that is associated to Golf for Life that has opened up either new restaurants or new or existing restaurants, how much have been spent and generated. So it's turnkey. So rather than giving out a QR code to just one app, I'd rather you get discounts on every possible. I don't know what I'm a foodie, so I eat sushi to barbecue and chicken wings. So yeah, I sweeten the pot. And if y'all ever want to come out to Deerbrook and Shelby, and I'd love to host y'all, give you a free golf lesson, treat you to a round of golf, take you out to dinner. Come out. And if you're a single male, you can come and stay at the house. We got Low Key, our labradoodle in the house. He's taking a nap over there. But so we're all about hospitality. We're looking to buy the amusement park that's at the front of the golf course. It has a driving range, a putt-putt, go-karts, motorboats, batting cage, club fitting. And then we're going to do Big Juicy's Golf and Kitchen. So all you golfers out there on a rainy day, it's a little cold, the hands are numb. I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna get on the simulator. I'm gonna play me a little 18 holes. I'm gonna sit down, eat me a nice old prime rib dinner. And so, big juicy style. I mean, how would you like to get in the horizontal position afterwards? I mean, that's my favorite position. And so no, yeah, but we'd like to take this model and obviously do it in all the states that are in the golf predominant areas. And our main purpose is to obviously we're Christ centered, hero focused. Golf is our vehicle, but if we can get the community involved, get the kids back doing something active than looking at a 7-8 inch screen or a tablet every day for hours on end. It's a cheap babysitter. I mean, $30 a month to keep your kids preoccupied while you go to the grocery store and do some errands. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, my God. So no, but yeah, so you let me know. I'm here for y'all.
So much going on. So I think the best thing to say, guys, is there is so much going on. This has been more in the pipework. This journey has gone from being the slammer of everything going tits up, shall we say, to everything being pulled back in. And obviously you're looking at yourself, you're looking at your life, actually rebuilding those conversations, building new ones, actually putting the time back to yourself, realigning, rebalancing your faith, and actually leveling it all up in tenfolds. And let's just say, last 3 to 6 months has been one hell of a journey. And I don't think it's about to stop going up. So all I'm going to say is the gratitude at the bottom of my heart. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to try not to cry because obviously I'm just sat here engrossed in the whole story. I'm going to be making sure anyone around the world, male, female, young, old, whatever you are, if you want to connect with Joshua, you want to hear more about the stories, you want to hear more about his projects, you want to hook up with one of these restaurants, you want to, find out about golf. I'm coming for a golf lesson. So if you want to connect with me when I try and find a way to get over there and see how bad I can, I'm really bad at golf. I'm just crazy golf. I'm not even good at. Okay. So anyway.
Well, we can start with putt and then chipping and then getting out on the course.
I can tee off with an iron. Was it? Yeah, the one you're not supposed to tee off with is the one I tee off with.
The putter?
Yeah.
You want to tee off with the putter. I like your style. And you're gonna putt with your driver. Totally. Not a bit. Oh. Well,
Okay, so guys, who are listening, obviously, me and Josh are going to do this. When this happens, we will take a video. This will go out. There will be a sequel to this.
Yes.
And we will share this story. So we are not over. This journey is not finished. So I'm going to say thank you before we keep going. Let's leave more. We're going to want more. So thank you for sharing your Friday with me.
Absolutely. I feel honored and privileged.
And thank you.
Can't wait for that link so I can share with all my peoples. I don't think they've heard this story from this perspective. So, and my wife is excited. I wish we could somehow throw our picture up there that I sent to you. And
it's going to be on the cover. The cover image is the both of you. So you do not have to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Well, she makes me look better. So I'm trying to end on a good note,
Well, they see you from the start. So guys, if you wonder who the cover photo is, it is his beautiful wife. There you go. So happy Friday, happy weekend, and here's to many good times beyond. Thank you.
Amen. Take care, Liz.